getting spotted on a skill. I know we love our spotters. It's hard to let your spotter go. How do you do it? How do you like stop getting spotted and do skills on your own?
So step one for me is always to ask the athlete, what did you do well? So typically when I say like, okay, what helped you go? They're like, oh, well, I knew my spotter was there in case anything happened. And I'm like, okay, well, did your spotter make sure you got over? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, so what did you do? So identifying like when you're doing things, what did you do to get yourself over? What helped you go? And at times, yeah, it might be, okay, the spotter was there, so I knew I was safe. But then challenge yourself to think about like, okay, if I'm doing a round off tuck, if I bring my hips over really quick, I know I'm going to get over. And so that's something that's shifting it more into your control because that's where you want to be looking at it versus the spotter doing it because there's a really good chance the spotter's not doing a thing. And the more we can shift it to like what you did, that's when you might realize, hey, like I actually have plenty of height and rotation. I might not need them there. And then obviously from like the physical standpoint, you can switch up the way you're being spotted. So like sometimes people think like it's either a spot or no spot. There's like 50 million in between spots too. So like I like one will be two hand spot, one would be a hand and two fingers, one will be a one hand, four fingers, three fingers, all that down to like two fingers. And then another one, like another type of spot that I figured out that really helps athletes when they are having a hard time with the skill is I'm going to come in after you start it, meaning I'm not going to touch you in the beginning. And so that definitely takes an additional amount of trust in your relationship with your athlete and coach because I know a big thing for my athletes are, well, the coach said they were going to spot me and they didn't. So now I don't know if they're actually going to spot me or not. And so they need to know that you're actually going to go in and spot them. So me as like both a mental coach and a physical coach, I always ask my athletes like, do you want me to surprise you or do you want me to spot you? And some athletes are always like, don't tell me, just surprise me. And I'm like, got it. And other athletes need to know what's going to happen to make sure that we're on the same page. So knowing your athlete and which type of what your relationship is and what they need versus a like a surprise versus not a surprise. So then when you do things like this where you don't spot them in the beginning, are they going to trust that you're actually come in? So that helps them build up the confidence to start the skill by themselves because a lot of the times we rely on our like hand or something on us to start. So this helps us start it and then trust that someone's going to come in. And then eventually it can turn more into like a love tap. That's what I like to call it when you're not actually doing anything and you just tap them just so they feel someone there. And then the cool part is like if you just keep supporting them the way they need to support, eventually they're going to say like I think I might be able to do it by myself. And that's when you're like, yes, you can. So they come to terms with it versus you saying, okay, I'm not going to spot you on this one. And then you're back to start the starting point. So you want them to be able to be like to see that they can actually do it. And you can do that by kind of changing what you're doing as the spotter. And then obviously what they think about when they're being spotted versus not being spotted. Continue to think about the same thing. Not, okay, well, now my spotter's not there. I'm not sure what's going to happen. No, that's not what you're thinking about before. You're thinking about getting your hips over. So continue to think about the same thing regardless if you have a spot, no spot, different surface, different place. Keep thinking about it if it's helping.
I love that. So I heard two main things. Everything you said was super helpful, but main things first, coaches pushing athletes or athletes trying to throw skills before they're ready doesn't work out because the trust piece isn't built up there yet, right? So the number one thing is making sure that you're actually ready to do the skill. And then the whole point is building up that trust in yourself, regardless of what the spotter is doing, right? So even when you have the spot, it's all about like the main thing that matters is how you're going to think or how you're building up that trust in yourself as the athlete, as opposed to what is my spotter doing, right? So I love that.